Now let's see the type of loops as well. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can shoot it right away in the chat window. I am monitoring that also. So okay, so loops, two common types of loops in Python are for loops and while loops. And we have a concept something called a definite iteration and indefinite iteration. So can somebody guess what it means, definite versus indefinite? Can somebody guess? And which loop is used to implement which one? For loop and while loop I have. Definite iteration and indefinite iteration I have. So can somebody just guess which one I will use for which purpose? Okay, somebody in the chat window. Okay, you can give your answers. So okay, actually definite iteration means that the number of times. What is a loop? A loop is something that repeats again and again. Like if you have seen Marvel Studios movies, Doctor Strange versus Dormammu, right? So Doctor Strange places a time loop. Dormammu comes into it again and again. That is what a loop, right? So that is like indefinite iteration. Like I don't know how many times Dormammu will take before accepting Doctor Strange's condition, right? So I don't know how many times I will need to run the loop. Now, what is definite iteration? I know that how many times I want to run the loop. Suppose I am telling I need to take 10 integers or I need to print 10 integers, then I know that I need to run it 10 times. So that is definite iteration. Okay, now in chat window I have got people telling indefinite is used for while loop, definite is used for definite, implementing definite, for is used. Okay, that is partially true, right? Actually, the correct answer is you can use for as well as while loop for implementing both definite as well as indefinite iteration. It is only by way of convenience that we prefer for definite iteration and while for indefinite iteration. There is nothing that stops you from implementing a definite iteration with while loop or an indefinite iteration with for loops. I have given examples to that. I will not be covering that in this session. It is there in this notebook. You can go through it later because since that is a slightly advanced concept. I will for the time being just restrict my discussion to definite iteration using for loops and indefinite iteration using while loop. The examples of the ulta case also I will just a few of the things I will just cover. So what's the syntax of a for loop, right? So two things we need. We need to have a loop variable, even this can be a dummy, and we need something called as a sequence or iterator. So what's a sequence? Like data types like list, tuple, set, string, or iterator is something like a like a generator function, range, something like that. So for a loop variable which takes my value within the sequence or iterator, inside that I will be having similar to if else body that we saw earlier. I will have an indented section of block which will be executed this many number of times as I set in this using this sequence as well as loop variable selection. So now one more thing that you can see here is I can have one more additional thing here, like I can add an else here as well, and I can have a set of else conditions. Right. So this is also a valid thing in Python. So what it will happen here is it will execute a for loop. Then once the for loop completes execution, that means the full sequence is over. It will come to this else. So same as our if case when the condition turns false. So similar to that, when the for loop, whatever condition based on which the for loop is running, when it turns false, it will come to else and it will execute this portion. And there are some cases where this will be skipped also. So I'll be covering that also. But okay, in most of the code, you will not be seeing this construct. Mostly you'll be seeing a for and a set of statements inside for only. The else type things is like a convenience thing that you can use in case you have some specific requirements. Like if you see codes online and all, you will not see such a thing. So we will just have a recap of loops and all that we had in previous session. I will not be going through detail. I will just tell what each one does because we had already covered this in detail in the previous sections. You can refer those videos in case you have doubts. So basically you can tell me what each one of these does, right? For I in range 10, I am just printing and I am printing everything on the same line using my separator as a space. So what it will do, right? So here the range will start from 0, right? and will go till 10 minus 1. That is the value I have given, 1 minus that, and with the increment 1, right? So this is the most simple case of a range function, where I am telling that, like Shirish explained in last class, my start is optional, stop I have to give, then my step size I have to give. So Shirish, last class you can refer. So this will be my start and step are optional, so which will default to 0 and 1, and my stop I will give. So this will print me the numbers from 0 to 9. So now suppose, like we told definite integration, instead of 10, which I have hard coded here, I want to print the numbers till n, right, starting from 1. So this same start stop step you can keep in mind. So here my start is 1. My stop I am taking one input integer from the user. Then I am converting typecasting that to integer type, and I am printing till n plus 1. Why have I printed till n plus 1? Because whatever I give as I can write stop plus 1 here. So whatever I give as stop plus 1 here, only till stop it will get printed. So if I give 10 here, it will get printed till 9 only. Now I want to print till n. So I'll give n value as n plus 1 here, and my step will be, I am not specifying anything, so my step will be 1. So as I go, you can always predict the outputs in the chat box. Yes, Amrit, this is correct. It will, if I give 10 as my in here, it will print me the numbers from 1 to 10. Now the advantage with this thing is, since I have given input, I can give any input, right? So I can give 10, I can give 20, whatever input I want, I can use, and it will give me, compared to the first code, it will give me more flexibility in running the loop, right? And this will be something that we will be using commonly in the subsequent sections. Now in the next example, I have used all three: start, stop plus 1, and step. So start, I have, you can predict the answers. Start I have given as 1. Stop plus 1 I have given as 11, so it will print till 2, and step I have given as 2. So what will be the output? It will start from 1, then it will do a plus 2, 3, then again plus 2, 5. So it will print the odd numbers from, you can give the answers. It will print odd numbers in what range? Yeah, same as earlier case, it will give me odd numbers in the range 1 to 10. Right, because 10 is not an odd number, 10 is not printed, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is printed. Now similarly, if I want a even number, I should start at either 0 or 2, right? So if I print the even numbers, it will give me 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then suppose in the next case, what I am doing. So in this case, again, I am asking the user for, and you can predict see the code and predict the answers in the chat since we have covered this earlier. So my start value in this case is n, my stop plus 1 value is 0, and my step value is minus 1. So what will be the output if I give 10 here? So right, so since I have given minus 1 as my step size, it will first print n, then do a minus 1 till it reaches step plus 1. So in this case, 0 plus 1, that is 1. So when it reaches 1, it will see that next, if you increment again, it is 0. That is my termination condition. So that will not get executed. Right. And next portion also we have seen earlier session. So I will just go through in just idea only I will give. So list tuple sets with comprehension and traversal with for loop. This we saw in yesterday's session. So suppose I want to create a list for numbers in the range 0 to 9. I can directly use list comprehension with k4, k in range 10, and if I then I will be printing the list. Then how I can iterate through the list? Same as what we did earlier. So here, as you can see, correspond to my printed, the list get printed. So this is the output of the list comprehension in the first line. For k, where k can take values in the range 0 is implicit here, 10, 1. So 0 to 9 values with an increment of 1 will be populated inside the list 10. And within the for loop, I am printing each element of the for loop, so that will get printed with a space in between. Now again, suppose I have another list where I want what? K raised to k. So that will, what will it give? If it is 1, it will give 1 raised to 1. If it is 2, it will give 2 raised to 2. If it is 3, it will give 3 raised to 3, right? So like a numeric exponential kind of list I am making, again using list comprehension. And you can see one more thing here. I have used something called the enumerate in this. So if you compare this for loop and this for loop, because somebody asked to explain enumerate in the previous session also, I will be just going through that. So I in n will just print whatever is the value inside it, right? 0 to 9. So now suppose I need to do something with, I want to change this 3 by some 7 or this 7 by 3, or like I want to swap this 3 and 7 inside the list. So for things like this, I need to know the index of 3 or 7, whatever it is. So in case I want to get the index as well as element in a list, I will iterate over the list using a wrapper called enumerate. So the enumerate, as you can see the output here, I have printed it with index colon I. No, don't confuse this with our dictionary keys. I have just used the colon. I can use hyphen as well to avoid any confusions which can come with the dictionary. So as you can see, the list is indexed from 0 to 9 and corresponding to the index. As you can see, this is the contents of my list, and corresponding to each index, what is the value there? It is printed here. So basically, if I want to change some value, I can access it directly using the index here. Okay, how to change that? Okay, so we will just change. So what I can do is I will write if index equal to 5, I will replace it what n of I, n of index, I will change to 0, right? Yeah, again index problem I will tell once again. Yeah, then suppose I am printing n. So before running this, I will tell what I have done, right? So I have created a list using list comprehension which has values k raised to k. So 1 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, 3 raised to 3, right? Like 0 raised to 0, it will come as 1. I think Python implements it that way. Then 1 raised to 1 will come as 1, 2 raised to 2, 4, 3 raised to 3, 27, 4 raised to 4, 250, like that. Then I want to access a particular element inside that list when inside my for loop. So if I do like this, I get only the element. I don't get something with which I can access the particular index. Suppose I want to access the 5th element or the 6th element. So at this point, I get only the values. If I use this alone, I will get 1, 1, 4, 27 and all. Enumerate is a function. So enumerate is a function which will give me like 2 values to a tuple. The enumerate will give me as output a tuple, which will be like in this case, first it will give 0, 1, comma 1, then it will give 1, comma 1, then it will give 2, comma 4, like that. So it will iterate over each element of the list, and then this is an index 0, so it will return me 0, comma 1. This is index 1, so it will return me 1, comma 1. So like that way. So what I am doing here, I am just printing it out, index as well as 1. Now as Amrit asked, suppose I wanted to change something inside the list. So I am just if index, I am just using a condition that we learned earlier. Suppose index comes to 5. 5 is what? It starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So 3, 1, 2, 5. So when the value of 3, 1, 2, 5 comes, that corresponding index, I am asking it to change it to 0. Value corresponding to index 5 in the list 10. So when I run that, it is not changed because let me just check. Okay. Can somebody tell why it did not change? Okay, this is a bug I did while I implemented code. So is somebody able to find out? Yeah, Hussein, hats off. Yeah, I have used an equal to here. So as we saw earlier, equal to is what? It is used to implement condition check. So at this point, I am checking whether n of index equal to 0. So at this point, what it will return? It is a condition that we saw in the first thing. So it will be returning either true or false. I am not using that for any other purpose. So it will be just like a dead code. I am not doing anything here. So I had to ideally have only one equal to here. So while writing, I just accidentally put 2 equal to here. So that is why my index 5 value did not change. So now I replace it correctly with a single equal to. And you can see here the 5th index, the value is changed to 0. So this is how you can use the enumerate to you can change, you can update, you can like add values from 2 index, whatever you want you can do using this particular wrapper. The next thing is we are seeing a tuple. So again, is it a tuple? that you can tell first. What do you think? Is it a tuple object? Inside a comprehension, I have put k for k in range 10. Then I am printing n. Okay, let me print the type of n also. Is it a tuple? Yes or no? In the chat window, please. Is n a tuple or not? That is my question. Few more answers. Can we have few more answers? Everybody agreeing to this? So let's see. Let's run this and see. Okay, so as you can see here, if you print n, it will tell that it has come as a generator object. And if I print the type, it is what I expected it to be tuple, but it is not so. It is something called a generator. So this is something similar to what we told earlier. If you have a put in a within a parenthesis a single value 1, that will be taken as an integer, not as a tuple. But if you are writing 1 comma inside a parenthesis, that will be taking as a tuple. So this is something similar to that. If I do like a list comprehension within parenthesis, that will yield me a generator. It will not be a tuple. But a generator is something that is an iterable. So again, if I loop with that I in the loop, I will again get the range similar to what we get for the list. Now suppose you want it to be a tuple, right? You got an n here, but with this is of type generator, but in your particular application you want it to be of type tuple itself. Then you can do an explicit typecasting here to type tuple. So in that case, if you print type of, again I run it. So that case, as you can see, the class is of type tuple itself. And again, here you can directly access the tuple and print the value. Right. So I hope this is clear. Right, Amrit? You got this clear, right? Then suppose I have a set, same way I am doing. Same set comprehension I am doing k for k in range 10, and I am printing that. So these are different cases of for loops that I can use with list, set, tuple, and all. Now something more important is like dictionary. This also we covered in yesterday's session, so I will go through this fast. So we will spend more time on the patterns. So basically here I have created a dictionary where my key is k and my value is k raised to k. That's similar to the list what we had earlier. So we had an like index and a value of exponent like k raised to k, right? So same thing I am putting in a dictionary. Right, so then I am trying to print it for I in n, print I. So what will be the output of this? Can somebody tell what will be the output? You can tell whether it will be a print k, whatever is in n, or it will print k raised to k, or it will print both. So what are the guesses? Okay, I can, I'm not seeing any answers. Somebody can guess what will be my output in this case? We covered this in yesterday's session. Okay, we can run this and see. So as you can see, my n here is like previous case 0, 1, corresponding to one key. I have value 1, like 4, 27, 256. I have the exponents. So now, but when I am printing the dictionary using n alone, what I am getting is actually the keys, right? So I can again verify it. I have, I can directly get the keys from n. So I am getting the same output as in this. So what we can definitely tell that it is printing only the keys. Now, as we know, a dictionary has values as well. So what if I want to get the values in that? So then I have to iterate over n dot values. So then in that case, it has printed me all the values. Now suppose I don't want either of this. I want both of them together. Like similar to what our index I in enumerate something this that we saw earlier. Similar syntax. I will be returning if I call n dot items, it will be returning my key value pair as a tuple. So here similar to that earlier that we did with a list. If I want for a particular key, if I want to change the value, I can implement that using an if here. So same thing that we did for list we can do here also. We will tell like if key equal to 5, I will tell n of key equal to 0 we made, right? Then I will again print my n. So what will happen in this case? As you can see from 3125 earlier, my dictionary value corresponding to key 5 has changed to 0, similar to what we did for list earlier, right? Then similarly for strings also same way we can implement. So you can just predict the output. I have a string called hello. Then for I am iterating over the string. Yeah, Mukesh, okay, you want me to explain again? Okay. Okay. So I think values keys are clear. I think you want me to explain this items thing only. So okay, we will just run this once again so that my IN is changed. Then items case I will. So I hope this this example is clear to you. Whatever we did with enumerate, right? Mukesh, this example is clear, right? Okay. So same way you assume that in my dictionary, my keys are the index corresponding to this, and in my dictionary, the values are corresponding to this. So same way I am making a dictionary here with keys as k corresponding to index in the earlier list, and values as k raised to k corresponding to the same as the values in the list that we considered earlier. So once I created that list, I want to iterate over the dictionary, and I want to, if I use keys or I directly use an, I will get the keys alone. If I use values, I will get the values alone. But I want to iterate over the keys as well as values, and for some particular keys, I want to do some operations, or I want to change the value, or I want to update the value. For operations like that, I can directly use key value in n.items. So this n.items function call will return me a tuple corresponding to each value in the dictionary, each key value pair in the dictionary. So at this point, I will be getting the one by one each key and value. So if I print the key value, I will get the all the keys followed by all the values. One by one I will get. So 0 and 1 I will get together. 1 and 1 I will get together. 2 and 4 I will get together. 3 and 27. Like that it will iterate over the entire dictionary. Now suppose same as what we did in the list earlier, corresponding to the key 5, I want to change the value in the dictionary. So that is what I have done here. If key equal to 5, the value of the dictionary correspond to that key I have changed to 0. Other than that, it is same as the list example that we saw earlier. I hope it is clear now. So suppose we come into strings. If I run in a for loop, I run a string. So as you can see, it has split my string into each character. So if I want to iterate over each character of a string, I can make use of a for loop. If you want to do it in a more complex way, you could have done something also. You could have done like the string you can convert to list, and then you can iterate over that. That will give you the same output. So right, why take that unnecessary conversion to list? So you can directly iterate over the characters in a string. So that much about for loops, all those things we saw in earlier class. So now coming to while loop. So while loop is similar to for loop, except that I don't know how many times I need to run the loop. Like similar to it is ideally suited for that indeterminate iteration kind of things. So my syntax will be like while for a particular condition. Then I will have something that is called my loop body that will do whatever I want to do. Then two things that we need to do inside a while loop is we need to update the condition and we need to terminate the condition. So I will tell you what will happen if it is not done. So suppose inside the while condition I do something and I don't do anything to modify the variables on which I am checking the condition. Then it will go into an indefinite loop. Like it will go on because the condition, once you check the condition, it does some loop and it the loop condition variables are not changed. Then that condition will be always true. So this will get into a infinite loop kind of thing. So I will never come out of the loop. So it will be as if our docstring Dormammu example Dormammu never accepts docstring's condition, that kind of situation. So what I want to update the statements. That is what we will do. In each loop, that Dr. Strange has to ask Dormammu, like, are you agreeing to my conditions? And then he will output whether yes or no. So again, it will come back and it will check the condition. So and then sometimes we may need to put additional condition termination statements, like in addition to the condition that we done here. Suppose inside the loop we encounter some particular conditions. Then in that case, we need to terminate the while loop. So that also we will come a little later with the break statements and all. We can implement such functionality. So similar to example that we saw earlier, again here we are checking a conditional. So if the condition turns false, I have a provision to execute an else. So that in that case, what are the conditions inside the else will be the same as whatever we saw for the for case. Now we will see the same examples that we saw earlier with for loop. Similar examples we will implement. You can tell what this loop does. We will implement similar type of examples with the while loop. So basically I am inputting an integer. Then while the integer is greater than 0, I am printing that integer, and then I am decrementing it by 1. Right. So why am I am decrementing it by 1? Because I have entered and I have printed it in descending order till 1. Right. If I have incremented here, then I suppose I give as in 10. Then it will go on incrementing 10, 11, 12, 13. It will go on printing and it will go into infinite loop. So that is what I told earlier. You need to be aware about the condition in which you are updating the loop as well as how you want to terminate. So if I run this, then it will ask me for a range and I enter 10. It will print me values from 10 to 1. Similarly, one example that we saw earlier. Suppose yesterday's session that suppose I am having an application which asks me to enter a passcode. So then suppose my passcode is 123. So anything else other than the passcode 123, it will ask me to enter my passcode again. And if it is 123, this condition will be false. So it will go to the else statement and it will tell me correct password, right? So when I run that, it will ask me for a passcode. I enter 1. It is not taking 2. It is again continuing the loop 3. Like that, it can go on continuing. So I press one extra enter there. So that is why it showed my invalid literal. So we'll just run it once again. So 1, 2, 3. Now I am correctly entering 1, 2, 3 passcode. Then it will show me whatever is inside the else condition, like correct passcode, right? So then we will see just how we can use break, continue and pass inside this also. I have put a reference. You can go through this also, break, continue and pass. So now suppose same similar thing we will try to implement. I am having a start value. Then like we told earlier, instead of the minus here, I want to print the numbers in the increasing sequence. So in this example, we printed in descending order from 10 to 1. So suppose I want to print it in ascending order. Then I need to do what? N plus 1, right? So now what is the issue here? So let's comment this and see. So let's see what will happen, right? So let's see, enter a value to loop from I am giving 1. I am entering a termination value 10, but as you can see that T is not being used here. I have commented this. So then what it will happen? It will go on printing, and as you can see, it is like going on executing. I will have to manually interrupt the execution. Right, that it has gone into an infinite loop there. Now what I have done here. So I have asked for a termination value, right? So I will tell you that if n is greater than or equal to termination value plus 1. So if I give termination value 10, then it has to print till 10. So when the value becomes 11, I will ask it to break from the loop. So what does means? I am asking it to like forcibly come out of the loop if n becomes at any moment the value e plus 1. So let's see now whether it is going into an infinite loop or not. So I am again same, I am printing from 1 to 10. So as you can see here, it has executed correctly. It has printed only from 1 to 10. So we saw one else here, right? So else when my while loop terminates, here the correct passcode was getting printed. So similarly here also I had an else loop, right? So but it did not get printed. Like why this is not printed? That is because this else loop will execute only when the condition against which we are checking the while loop becomes false. So in this case, inside the while loop, we have checked some other condition, and from there we have forcibly exited the while loop. So in those cases, the statement inside the else will not get printed. Only when the while loop normally terminates with the condition in the while loop turning false will the else will get executed. I hope that's also clear. So that may come use when you are implementing something. Now suppose again similar to this earlier one, I am again decrementing n, and let's see, I have added one condition here. So let's see what will happen. So enter a value to loop from I am giving 20. So okay. So can somebody tell what is the effect of this if n modulo 10 equal to 2 continue in this? Can somebody tell what is the effect of this?
It will skip the loop and it will continue the next.
Yeah, exactly, Amrut. So as you can see here, I have given a condition like n modulo 10. That is, I will divide it by 10 and check what is the remainder. If that remainder equal to 2, I have given a statement continue. So continue means that you stop the current iteration of the loop at this point, and then you go back to the while line. So whatever is coming after this continue, when this condition turns true, whatever is coming after that corresponding if loop will not get printed. It will directly go to the next iteration. So as you can see in this example 19, 18, 17, 16 up to 13. Since 12 this condition has become true, it has printed a continue there. So it did not come to the line where it is getting printed. Then it skipped that. Then again it went till 3. Then again 2 is not printed because 2 modulo 10 equal to 2. Then it went till 0. Then as you can see, when it went to 0, this n greater than 0 turned false. So again, as I told earlier, this else will be active. So in this case, you can contrast this with the break case where the condition else will not get printed. Whereas with this example with continue, my else got printed because I went to a normal termination of the while loop. Then again, one more example you can see. So I'll just see, yeah. What's the difference between these two examples? What is the difference? Yeah, yes, as you can see here, instead of continue, I have replaced by a pass. Right, so let's see what pass does compared to break and continue. So I enter again 20 here. And I got output. Right. So now what I am doing here, I am checking that if it is modulo 10, it will pass. That means it will not do anything here. It will go down directly. So suppose I had a empty print here as well. Let me give the input 5. So as you can see here, I checked whether it is modulo 10 equal to 2. So when it is 2, this will become true. So it will go to pass. So the whatever is here, nothing will happen. It will directly go to this print. So I can see when I wanted to want 2, that point I got an empty line. Now for all other values, it will print the value of them. So yeah, okay. So as you can, Shirish, okay. So as you can see, in this case, the pass does not do anything, like it is sitting idle. In this particular condition, when it becomes true, this is idly doing, and it is proceeding with the further down the loop, right? That is what the difference between a pass and continue. Continue will skip the current iteration of the loop and go back to the next iteration of the loop, whereas pass will just pass from this condition and will continue with the remaining part of the loop. Then suppose I am printing again with a for loop. Let's check some example with both continue as well as break as well as else. So all these things, let's check. So what will happen? So I am telling it till range 50. So it will go from 0 to 49. Then I am checking if modulo 10 equal to 2 continue. So multiple that is numbers with units plus 2 will not get printed. Yeah, 2 is not printed, 12 is not printed, 22 is not printed, 32 is not printed. Then if I greater than 40, I have put to break, right? So at that point when it becomes 40, it will exit the loop. Then I am not going to else because as I told earlier, if it breaks in between, it will not go to the else condition. Now suppose I comment that break and do, then you can see it will go till 49 and it will show me a message loop executed successfully, right?